State your name for the record.
Jin Urso.
Forgery of imperial documents, possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, resisting arrest.
On your own from the age of 15. Reckless, aggressive, and undisciplined.
This is a rebellion, isn't it? I rebel.
So we meet again. Last time we met in Florence, and now we're here and talking about some wonderful movies that you're just being a part of. It's great to see your career just explode. How does it feel to be in this moment in time in this part of your career?
Oh, it's fantastic. It really is. It was such a no-brainer getting a role like this, and it had been something that I'd been looking for ages. Yeah. And I was desperate to do something that had a little bit more action in it, that would test a different side of oneself. Yeah. And so it was definitely hard work, and we shot for 7 months, and it was grueling, but great fun in between, and a real adventure for all of us.
Yeah, and when you play, like, it seems like, Jen, I mean, we only got to see a bit of the movie, which was fantastic, and all the fans, if they just seen what I saw, would be like, super excited. But to play like a rebel, like, how do you take that spirit home with you, and when you play like such a strong woman and this rebel, does that give you like a swag,
Well, what's interesting is I feel like at first when we meet Jin in the film, she's kind of, she's very, very defensive. She's actually a little bit aggressive. She doesn't trust anyone. She's kind of shutting people out. And then slowly, as she kind of bonds with these other rebels, it's basically comes through friendship. Yeah. These friendships she forms calms her down a bit and sort of lets her be more open. And in that coming together, they find something that they really believe in. Yeah. And so it was rather nice plotting that trajectory for her from being an outsider, really, and a loner, to someone who feels she finds her, her kindred spirits, really.
Well, behind the scenes, like, you've become a part of this big, huge Star Wars family of fans and actors. And I heard that Gareth would let you guys watch the whole movie at the Skywalker Ranch together. Like, how did it feel to be with that group in that historic place, watching this massive thing on the big screen? It was
a pretty it was pretty special. We just literally got off a plane. I think our plane was like an hour delayed as well. So we kind of got straight there, and met everyone else who was already present, and we kind of had no time to really chat, so we just went all straight into the auditorium, which was probably better, so we couldn't get too nervous. Yeah. And it was really, it was one of those kind of, it was definitely a life-altering experience, because it's really the end of what has been, a labor of love for all of us. Yeah. And actually it was really special to watch it all together, because it was very much at every step of the way, it was a true collaboration between everyone.
And last question, when you hear a galaxy a long time ago, far away, like, what does that mean, to be a long time ago and far away, and to be where you see the Star Wars universe at? What do you think about, like, on a...
Well, it's very important, because it means, in a way, we can get away with much more, because there's this idea like, oh, it's far, far away, it's nothing to do with us, it's in another galaxy. But actually, what's beautiful about Star Wars, I think, is always relevant for our society and for our times. Yeah. And that actually it's much closer to us than we realize. And I feel like Rogue One really captures this, what is so important, I feel, at the moment, is everyone coming together, and it's a really, international group of people from all different sides of the world, and they are, it's in their collective endeavor that they find their strength, and they're not strong on their own, and they have to forge relationships across different cultural differences and languages, and I think there's something very important about that unity for today's times.
Congratulations, great picture.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
What chance do we have? The question is, what choice? Run, hide, plead for mercy, scatter your forces. You give way to an enemy this evil with this much power, and you condemn the galaxy to an eternity of submission. The time to fight is now.
There's going to be a competition. We should give them an award for the best t-shirt.
I know. Who is this?
Where did I come in? I get top 5 at least.
You've made the finals.
Say your
Yeah.
name and your affiliation to the camera, and then we'll begin.
Jamal Finkley, Black Tree TV. So, you spoke yesterday at the Skywalker Ranch, and you said a little bit about your pitch and that you pitched it right here by this lake. Like,
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that moment when you had to bring the story to Mr. Lucas and it's like how was that pitch? Can you tell me a little about that?
Well, George is retired, so
Yeah.
we were actually pitching it to Kiri Hart, who's
Okay.
head of development at Lucasfilm, and yeah, we had spent the week at the ranch trying to just finesse the final details because there's something about that place. It's like the spiritual home of Star Wars in a way, and so we wanted to, even if it was just in the water or just something to do with the land. We just wanted to be in the home of Star Wars. And I'd grown up looking at the images of Skywalker Ranch in behind the scenes books and things and dreamed of like, oh my God, one day maybe you could visit, maybe something could happen where you might be able to be allowed in for a moment and stand there.
Yeah.
And then it came and it was, you're making Star Wars, get going, off you go. And we were kind of given the keys to the kingdom. You could go into the archives and there's all the original Millennium Falcon, the actual Death Star. There's the Ark of the Covenant from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Han Solo in Carbonite. He's got everything, and that was really surreal. But my favorite bit of all that was you go to the very back and there's these drawers and you pull them open and there's the original artwork that inspired A New Hope, and it's what they took to the studios to get the money to make Star Wars. And to me that was like these are like the holy grail of like what began it all.
And, I mean, that's got to be super different as a director. I mean, like, you never get another film where you have that amount of external assets and everything that can affect you as a creator. Or, like, as a director, how did that affect you in this project?
I mean, to some
on
extent,
screen?
yeah, we had it easier than George
Yeah.
when he started. And in a way, if you were doing, like, Star Wars to me, has a lot more in common with not the future and science fiction, but the history, the past and history and mythology and anybody who makes a historical film like a war movie or something, they know how to make the soldiers look, they know how to make the helmets, because it's real. We had the advantage of knowing a lot of that stuff because it'd already been established in the original Star Wars films, but we were trying to give it a twist and a spin. For instance, if I get the name right, but there's a helmet called NEM-1 that was used in Vietnam, and I just wanted the Rebel helmets to just subconsciously feel like that. And we tried all these different designs, slightly different shapes, and it just didn't feel like real war until it was this certain silhouette. And so we were trying to borrow, obviously, from the originals, but give it a little twist. So you feel like, just like if you'd only ever seen a modern car through, you're from another world, you've only ever seen one modern car. There are other cars, you can see other ships, other robots, but they should feel like, oh, I get it. I see how that's connected.
And lastly, as a visual effects, I mean, we've known your rise from visual effects to now. Like, did that part make you a perfect person to kind of do like this Star Wars picture to bring kind of like that visual mass universe to the screen, but to be able to tell the story? Like, what was the visual effects background that helped you make?
I mean, I don't know if there's ever a perfect person other than like maybe George Lucas, but it was I think what it does give you is what computers are good at and what they're not good at, and what people can build in front of the camera and what is hard to do. And so that dividing line between, we're going to build this, but then that's going to be in the computer, was really useful. Like, for instance, it was really important to me that we go to real locations and we don't rely on a lot of green screen and blue screen, and we ended up going to like Iceland and Jordan and the Maldives, and there's even some stuff we had to shoot for the Empire there's this futuristic train station in London called Canary Wharf, and they came in and they basically turned it into an Imperial facility like overnight, and we shot for 4 hours in there, and you add things, you then digitally in the computer add and change things that you didn't, you could do better, but it's to have something real that you can film with, that the actors can look at, makes all the difference, I think. And then obviously ILM come in and they just take it to the next level. And every day was like Christmas doing visual effects reviews. You'd be like 25 new shots a day, you know, to do the whole movie in time, and you just go, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Oh my God, that looks amazing. So it's pretty crazy.
I'm really excited for all the fans to be able to see, you know, this full project. Great job.
Cheers, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Why does she get a blaster and I don't?
What?
I know how to use it.
That's what I'm afraid of. Give it to me.
We're going to Jeddah. That's a war zone.
That's not the point of... Where'd you get it?
I found it.
I find that answer vague and unconvincing.
Trust goes both ways.
You're letting her keep it. Would you like to know the probability of her using it against you? It's high.
Let's get going.
It's very high.
And, Diego, you're awesome in the movie.
Thank you.
And how did it feel to sit there at Skywalker Ranch with everybody and the director and watch yourself on screen there? How did that feel?
I've been trying to downplay the moment, you know, like, oh, it was great, and it was fucking awesome, man. It was the most special thing, like being in the Skywalker Ranch first of all, like just being there, knowing what has happened around those rooms and who planned all of that. That same guy that got me interested in cinema, basically, you know, and we're watching the film, and it's the cast, it's all of us, and there was a tension going on. Like, you could tell how much we wanted to like this, you know, and like after the first 20 or 30 minutes that everyone has seen, we started enjoying it, and we started cheering, and we started like, suddenly it was not just a film, you know, it was like being in a concert or like being in the wrestling or some kind of weird experience where people shout and clap, and I don't know. This goes straight to my, like, the child I have inside, you know, the child that I'm still are. It got me that excited, and I cried, and I felt proud, and it was a relief also, because you know, there is always this feeling of like, I really hope we achieve the film people deserves, you know, the film people are waiting for, and I think we did.
¿Cómo te sentiste mirarte en la película Star Wars? Estás en la película, tú eres el actor principal. ¿Cómo te sentiste?
Se siente una mezcla de emoción, de también una tensión terrible, ¿no? De que las cosas estén bien, de que las cosas salgan bien, de que la película sea lo que estás esperando, y esa película que quieres compartir con el público, porque además esta película va a llegar a todos lados. Esta película se va a ver en todo el mundo, y el potencial de la película es brutal, ¿no? Nunca me había pasado ser parte de un proyecto que genera esta expectativa, y es muy emocionante, pero también es una presión fuerte la que se siente.
Sí. ¿Qué era la parte más dura? Y cuando la mirada era bien físico, todo lo que hiciste. ¿Qué era la parte más dura para ti?
Pues sí, el desgaste físico que la película exigía, y el tiempo de rodaje, ¿no? No era como que, bueno, a ver, va a ser un desgaste por un mes. Aquí eran 7 meses de tu vida, ¿no? Entonces es una carrera larga, ¿no? Comparada con todo lo que había hecho yo antes, porque incluso las veces que había hecho algo de acción y demás, siempre era por periodos más cortos, ¿no? Aquí había que tener, es más un maratón, una carrera larga. Entonces había que ir reservando las energías, irse cuidando, ¿no? No aventarse como el Borras, no decir, aquí va todo, dejar el resto en la primera semana y después ya no poder seguir, ¿no?
Sí. Última pregunta. ¿Tú tenías que estudiar cosas de Star Wars o palabras para para como ayudarte más para esa parte.
Sí, hay que hacer todo un trabajo. Digo, siempre que haces una película hay que hacer un trabajo de investigación, pero en esta en particular es muy específico. Todo tiene una respuesta, todo tiene un porqué y todo está escrito. Nada se deja a la improvisación, ¿no? Hay reglas para que este mundo funcione y las reglas te las tienes que saber. Entonces sí trabajamos mucho.
Okay. Gracias, estabas excelente en la parte de todo lo que hiciste y la
muchas
quiero ver
gracias.
otra vez.
Gracias.
Okay.
Bien, entonces.
Gracias por
So now y'all like in this Star Wars family, which is kind of like, you know, I know the movie's about another universe, but the whole Star Wars family of fans and actors and creators is like an exclusive kind of group. Like, how does it feel to be like in that family and sit there at the Skywalker Ranch together?
I went to a con, like a convention, like Comic-Con, and Mark Hamill was there. And I walked by him and I saw him and I stepped back and I said, Mark. And he kind of, you know, like, I said, my name's Alan Tudyk, I'm K2SO. And he goes, oh my God. Stopped what he's doing, gave me a hug, pulled me to the side, and he's like, man, okay, I talked to Gareth, and I want to talk to you about the movie. That's that's the family we're in. You can do that.
What did
man.
he say? Did he say, like, welcome to the family?
We talked spoiler stuff, so I can't tell you the stuff that we talked about. He had a lot of secrets because he's Luke Skywalker.
Wait, he gave you spoiler stuff for episode 8?
No, I wish. Well, I didn't even ask him.
Oh, that's what he gave
knew
me.
Spoiler stuff for this.
That's what he gave me.
It is a good family to be in.
Yeah.
It's a warm family.
And when you do a movie like this, does it feel more important than? I know all your projects are important and it's artful. You put all your heart into every project, but when you do like a Star Wars movie, does it feel more important than other movies?
It feels different. It feels different in the sense that I've got a background mainly of doing indie movies, and you don't know if anyone's going to go see those. So that's a kind of its own weird crapshoot. Whereas this is, you know, at least some people are going to go see this. So that's a kind of relief.
Some is an understatement.
So that's a big kind of difference for me.
When all movies, whenever you make them, whatever the size, there are grueling days. You know, they're 12-hour days at least, 14, 15, whatever. You're towards the end of the week to get everything. Mud, rain, cold, whatever. And so there's always a moment where you go, oh, this is really hard. I'm having a tough day today. But when you looked around and saw stormtroopers and spaceships and X-Wing fighters, absolutely actual X-Wing fighters there with smoke coming to the bottom and the ladder going up and guys in there working on them, it would buoy you, at least me. You hated it. But for me, I was like, this is great. Man, I hate this job. I want to go home. I want an indie movie. It was just...
Yeah. And you bring out another android character into the family. And it's kind of amazing that all of us know the iconic R2-D2 and C-3PO, but now that they've been introducing these characters, they're like kind of like... It's amazing how they blend into new stories, even in episode 7 and now with your character. Like, how does it feel to play like one of those characters that become iconic and become toys and become?
Yeah, I hope so. K2 is a different kind of droid. I think people are gonna be excited to meet him because, especially with the droids that have come before, have all been really good, friendly sidekicks. And K2SO is, although he's very committed and devoted to Cassian, he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
You know, there was a line that was cut at one point where he said, "No one likes you." They talk about you behind your back, and then you leave the room. And no, I said they when you aren't in a room, they talk about you, and when you come back in, they stop, and then when you leave, they start talking again. Somehow that didn't end up in the movie. I don't know what happened there.
Weirdly.
Well, great movie, guys. Can't wait to see you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Really good to meet you. Thank you.
Fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are afraid.
First, Donnie, and it's a pleasure. I've been a fan of your movies for a long time, and it was like one of the most pleasurable things to sit there yesterday at the Skywalker Ranch and see you come on screen in your character.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
How was it to play that character? Because I mean, I know Gareth is known for all these visual effects, but and I know that you've done a lot of action directing. Like
Right.
for that, was there a collaboration when it came to those parts?
Yes. Let me say that there's always collaboration between actors and directors and script writers, regardless of whether I'm Donnie Yen or not, because that's just the nature of being creative. When I got a call from Gareth and my agents in the very beginning, and the first thing that I asked was, they invited me to be part of this, and the first thing that I asked, without even looking at the script, and I said, look, they want me to kick some butts. They want me to kick the stormtroopers' butt, right? So I said, right, was that right? So, and then until I spoke to Gareth, he told me that actually I was not intrigued by all my previous films. He was a fan. He's a fan, but that was not the reason why he wanted me. He just felt I was appropriate for that role, and that he believes that I can bring that kind of spiritual, that kind of solid spirit to the character and the movie.
Yeah.
And part of the process is, in the beginning and what you saw at the Skywalker Ranch, it was a lot of collaboration there.
I've read that you started learning martial arts at the age of 4.
That's incorrect. At the age of 9, maybe.
At the age of 9, okay. When you start that young, like how does that shape the path that you go on, career or anything else?
I never came across in my mind to be an actor in the first place. I was raised in a martial arts family. My mother is at the time one of the top female martial art instructor, and I spent my teenage year in Boston. So I grew up in martial arts until I came cross paths with someone who discovered me and got me into the business, and been in the business for 35 years.
Wow. And how was it to sit there with the rest of the cast and filmmakers at the Skywalker Ranch and see the full film that,
It was
together?
just incredible because, number one, this is it's one of the biggest IP in the world. I mean, you talk about Star Wars here, and we did, in fact, spend months of crafting something that the whole world will judge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of relief when we saw the film, or the finishing film, and it came together. For me, that's the most rewarding thing, is when you watch the film at the end, you see all the hard work has been on screen and being engraved in the history of filmmaking. So that's awesome.
Rogue One.
The power that we are dealing with here is immeasurable.
If the Empire has this kind of power, what chance do we have?
So, first, I was only privileged to see 28 minutes of this film, and for all those fans out there that's rolling their eyes at me because I still got to see that, you guys got to see the whole thing with the whole family together. Like how was that? What was that experience to see it on the big screen at the Skywalker Ranch together as a Star Wars family?
It's kind of mind-blowing to see it for the first time at the Skywalker Ranch with everyone around. You don't dream about stuff like that because we all grew up on it. We all grew up on it, so we are all huge fans first, I think, before any of us were actors. So it was, it's like it's really living a dream moment.
Each one of these films or episodes, and this is just a new film, and the series starts off saying a galaxy far, far away, long time ago, far, far away. What does that mean to be a long time ago and far away, but to be where that society is? When you look at our society today, what do you think about in comparison, how they set it up,
I think the films are always reflecting back. They're always about something they're always about something about us. Because we're not entirely sure what it was like in that galaxy far, far away a long time ago. But this one particularly, you know, the cast of this is incredibly diverse. Many, many different nations, you know, many different hues, many different creeds. This really is the most, you know, kind of, it's a together, you know, it's a together thing. And I think that comes through very, very strong. Now, of course, I'm not on that team. You know, I'm on the other team.
You're on the team, somehow.
Well, you know, as an opposition, I'm like the guard with the massive arms going, no, you're not getting through anywhere. But,
True.
you know.
Different team, you're right.
Yeah, different team.
No, but it's got to be real. It's got to be us. It's got to be now. Doesn't matter if it's future or past. I think the secret of the success of these films is that we identify with it. It's us. It's your sister, it's your brother, it's your mom, it's everyone we know. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter that we love it, that it's far, far away.
Yeah.
But it's pretty present for us.
Wow. And so working with Gareth as a director, I mean, because the movie looks real massive. We know it was a big budget and everything else, but does it get intimate on set in your parts, or does it get lost in this big?
No. It's extremely intimate. I mean, it's always a risk when you pick a director who's the biggest fan in the world of the genre. But he turned out to be, you know, mastering obviously the universe completely, but also being the actor's man, you know, eye level with us. Put the camera on his shoulder. You know, he wanted to be in the midst of the moment with us. So often we were doing small films. And then when we stepped back, we realized, oh, well, okay, we're inside this spaceship. Oh, I see. So that's the way he worked. He tried to make it intimate, right?
Very much. Yeah, very much so.
Well, all right. I'm excited to see the rest of it, and I'm sure like the world is ready to see the rest of this and see Rogue One take off. And thank you guys for putting on a great performance. And
thank you very much.
Thank you.